Hi, I'm Jack. This is going to be the most important video I've made so far. In this episode, I'm going to talk about actually buying a van, red flags, common scams, things you need to be checking that could potentially save you thousands. So, you finally decided what type of van you want and you found one for sale online. There's plenty of things we can check and look at before we've even left home. Firstly, let's have a look at how long has it been for sale. Good vans that are well priced tend to sell very quickly because there's a lot of people out there looking for them. If it's been for sale for weeks or months, ask yourself why. Have lots of other people been to look at it and something's put them off? Next up, try and have a look at the seller. If it's on Facebook Marketplace, have a look on their profile. Are they selling loads of other cars and vehicles that are suspiciously cheap? That should be an instant red flag. There's a lot of people who make loads of false listings, don't even own the car. As soon as you message them, they'll say, oh, someone else has come and look at it. Can you send me a deposit? Never send deposits for a vehicle you haven't seen. Guarantee it'll be a scam. You can also have a look on their profile, do a little bit of snooping. Do they look the type of person, from what you can see, that you want to buy a vehicle from? Next thing to check is MOT history. Super easy to do. You can do it for free on the government website. You just type in the reg. It will tell you when it was tested, what the mileage is. If the mileage has gone down from one year to the next, that's a huge red flag, means it's been tampered with. It'll also bring you up a list of things it might have failed on. For example, if the vehicle failed its MOT a few months ago and then passed the next week, has the work been done or has it just been taken to a more friendly MOT station who someone's paid to pass it? Ask the seller for proof of that work. Is there receipts? Is there photographs? If there isn't, be very suspicious, because who doesn't keep receipts for things like that when they're trying to sell a van? Also, you need to understand what an MOT is and isn't. An MOT is a safety test. So they test various things on your vehicle to make sure it's safe to be on the road, not going to cause an accident. What it isn't is a test of reliability and how the engine is. So just because a vehicle has an MOT doesn't mean the MOT doesn't test the engine. Even if the engine's rattling or smoking a bit, that doesn't mean it's an MOT failure. So don't assume having an MOT means that vehicle is going to be reliable. If it doesn't have an MOT, ask yourself why not. Ask the seller why not. They might say, oh yeah, it'll definitely fly through one. Yeah, there's no problems there. Don't take that as face value. There could be a very good reason they're selling it without an MOT, or the MOT is about to expire. It'd be a good idea to run a vehicle check. There's lots of websites like Car Vertical you've probably heard of. You pay a very small amount, you put the reg in, and they will tell you the history of that vehicle, how many owners it's had, if it's been written off, if it's had damage. Now, if I was buying a sports car, I probably wouldn't buy anything that's previously been repaired or a CAT title on it. With big vans, I'd say that's sometimes to be expected, because vans are quite hard to drive. They're very big. People often ding them into things. Company vans that have been used for commercials, have done a lot of miles. It's quite likely that at some point they may have had minor accidents. So that wouldn't necessarily put me off buying a van, but I want to know the details of what was damaged and the quality of the repair. Because if it's been repaired properly and it was a big dent in the side, it doesn't really matter. If it's been absolutely smashed and welded back together by some bodge job, you might have some issues. Next up, I want to have a chat with the seller, ideally on the phone, just so I can get an idea of a few important questions. Firstly, why are they selling it? How long have they owned it for? If they've owned it for a couple of weeks, why are they selling it? Have they bought it and realised there's something wrong with it? Have they just bought it from auction and are just sticking it straight up for sale? A lot of people buy cars cheap from auction, take a bit of a gamble on them, fix them up and sell them on. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people would just buy a car from auction, stick it straight up for sale for an extra £2,000 without having driven it, and are completely unaware of any issues it may have. One question I see pop up a lot is questions about mileage. Should I buy X van that has X amount of miles on it? High mileage vans obviously are going to have had more wear, but what's more important is service history. A van that's done 200,000 miles but been serviced meticulously at the right intervals is quite likely going to be more reliable than the van that's done 100,000 miles and has no service history. Now, me personally, when I was buying this, I wanted it to be around 100,000 miles, and this had 110 on it. For a Sprinter, that's still considered quite low mileage. But what I didn't want to do is buy a van with hundreds of thousands of miles on the clock and then pour tens of thousands of pounds into it. So try and stretch to whatever your budget will allow. There's no point buying a high mileage van that's towards the end of its life and then putting £20,000 of stuff in the back, because ultimately it's never going to be worth as much when you come to sell it. Have that conversation with the seller about what service history it has. If it doesn't have any at all, that's a big red flag. And don't be fobbed off when you get there. Oh, I couldn't find it. I definitely have it. I'll send it to you. No, don't believe that. Also, engine rebuilds. It might be you've got a high mileage van that's recently just had a brand new engine fitted. Now, again with this, make sure it is documented and proven. People don't spend £5,000 having a new engine put in and, oh, I didn't get the paperwork, but it's definitely in there. No, don't believe that at all. With servicing, some people do service their own vans if they're mechanically minded. I service my own van. I don't take it to a garage. So I don't have receipts for the service, but I always keep the receipts for all the parts I used, so it's easily proven. Again, always just be suspicious of anyone that doesn't have any kind of receipts or documents or says that they have them but they can't find them. It's normally just a lie. So you've done all that and you're actually going to arrange to go and see it. Make sure you're going to go and see it at the seller's home address. If they ask to meet you in a car park somewhere, it's probably because they might not want you to know where they live because they don't want any comebacks. You want to go and see it in the daytime when it's light, ideally when it's not raining, so you don't feel rushed and you can actually get under and look at it. If you're not mechanically minded and don't know what you're looking for, take someone with you that does. Ask around some of your friends. Chances are you know someone that has some kind of background in mechanics. Forget your pride. Don't think, oh, I don't want to ask. Take someone with you that will go and have a look. And ask the seller, do you mind if I bring my friend to me who's a mechanic? If they say no, that's another red flag. And let's talk about your rights as a buyer in a private sale. Unfortunately, they are incredibly limited, so much so you almost don't have any. The only rules are the seller has to own the vehicle legally, it has to be roadworthy, and that just means it's got an MOT, and it has to match the description. So a lot of bad sellers will get round this by just not putting much in the description, just stating the mileage, the colour, whatever. So if they don't make any false statements, they get away with it. So unless they say something like the engine was rebuilt at this mileage and you're able to prove it wasn't, there's no comeback. If someone sells you a vehicle and 2 minutes driving down the road it breaks down, they're not responsible because they can just say, well, it happens. Cars, vans have thousands of moving parts, electrical systems, so many things to go wrong, and it's very difficult to prove that person knew about it. Now people say, oh, you can take them to a small claims court. You could, but you're looking at a load of time, the cost of it, and the chances of that case actually being successful are very slim. So just try and take that out of the equation. Make sure you really have a look at what you're buying before you're buying it, because once you have bought it, there's almost no comeback. Unfortunately, there are some bad people out there that know that and will take advantage of that. It's don't want to be too negative and worry everyone, but it's very easy if you were to sell a vehicle with problems to pull the wool over someone's eyes, and as soon as they drive off, disappear, block them. They've no comebacks. If you are buying from a garage or a dealership, you do have a lot more rights. But again, just be careful. There are dodgy garages out there, and if anything, they might be even better at hiding problems and know the law and how to sort of tiptoe around that. So be aware of that. If they offer a warranty, check what that warranty covers, because people think warranty covers everything. They rarely do at all. Normally just means if it blows up on the way home. It doesn't cover things that are considered consumables like tyres, brake pads, that kind of thing. So, and get that in writing. If everything, make sure it's written down, because someone just a verbal agreement says, oh, I'll do this, that and the other. You have no proof down the line. They can just say, no, I didn't say that. Okay, so that covers things we can check before we've even left the house. In the next video, I'm going to show you physically walking around the van, things we can check, things to look out for. If you think I've left anything out, add it in the comments, and please like and follow for more van content. Thank you.